You know, I talk a lot about how modern entertainment picks up a lot of its more dramatic story elements from very old sources. It can be pretty fun to look at some of our modern media and realize they're thinly veiled retellings of really old stuff. Now, the interesting thing about anime in contrast to Western media is that Western stuff tends to draw inspiration from old texts, while anime will often just rip stuff wholesale and repackage it in a shiny modern skin with romance and explosions. Anyone who watched Naruto will be the first to notice how often big names from Japanese mythology will get thrown around, but it's far from the only show to do so. Also, it's hardly myth accurate in most cases. Looking at you, Orochimaru. If you don't have a legendary sword in your butt, don't even talk to me. In fact, the main character in this myth has shown up in quite a few places in one form or another. This is the Tale of Princess Kaguya. Now, there was a movie made of this quite recently, but the gist of the myth is rather simpler than what was in there. So much like Momotarō, Princess Kaguya starts her life as a magic baby appearing out of a local piece of plant life. In this case, a bamboo stalk, cut by an old childless bamboo cutter called Taketori no Okina. He takes the baby home to his wife, and together they raise her as their own. Now, this would be difficult on a bamboo cutter's salary, but from that point forward, whenever Taketori no Okina cut a stalk of bamboo, he'd find a gold nugget inside. Rather than question this, he took the opportunity to get filthy rich and provide for his beautiful daughter and also his wife. Now, obviously, Kaguya grew up to be gorgeous, because this is a legend and nobody ever peaks in high school, so soon enough she finds herself beset by suitors, 5 of them actually high enough in status to be somewhere in her league. However, Kaguya don't want to be tied down, so she gives the 5 princes impossible tasks. The first one she sends to get the Buddha's stone begging bowl. The second is sent to get a jeweled tree from Horai Island, which notably doesn't exist and is supposed to be full of ghosts. The third she sends to get the robe of the fire rat. The fourth is sent to get a jewel from the neck of a dragon, and the fifth she sends to get a cowrie shell born from swallows, whatever that means. So princes 1 through 3 come back with expensive forgeries, number 4 nopes out of there when he runs into a storm, and 5 manages to get himself killed in the attempt, so Kaguya is mercifully free to continue living la vida soltera. Soon enough, the emperor himself catches wind of Kaguya's hotness and falls in love with her, but Kaguya rejects him, saying she's not from his country and therefore shouldn't marry him. They stay friends though. But if you were confused by that not a citizen thing, the truth comes out the following summer. You see, Kaguya is actually from the moon. Wow. Swerve. So Kaguya sadly tells her parents that her time on Earth is coming to an end and she has to return to the moon, like, soon. Her bestie the Emperor doesn't want to see her go, so he stations guards around her home in an effort to keep her safe. But the moon don't play by the Emperor's rules, so when her entourage comes down to take her away, they temporarily blind all the guards to keep him from interfering. Kaguya writes a goodbye letter to the Emperor and attaches a gift in the form of the elixir of life. Pretty sweet. Then she puts on a magic cloak made of feathers which makes her forget all of her love for humanity, and then she goes back to the moon. So the Emperor is heartbroken and refuses the elixir, reasoning that an eternal life is worth nothing if Kaguya is not in it. He has the elixir burned on the peak of the highest mountain in the area, giving the mountain its name, Fuji, for immortality. So that's the story of how a magic baby fell out of a bamboo stalk, got at least 1 nobleman killed, and inspired Sailor Moon. The end.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing.